today's episode.
Let's see if we can peel off. Nope.
Welcome back. Got a new cast member. Goes by the name of Greg.
Craig.
Craig?
Yep. Just gonna cut up some fiberglass, do a little diffuser repair.
For those boys that want to know how to fix carbon fiber.
Buy some cheap fiberglass.
Quick little backstory what happened. One night, coming back from the beach, I think I was out Virginia Beach. Your boy was driving the S2000. You know, I was experimenting to see how rigid the vehicle is, and my diffuser flew off in the process, but it was still dangling on the car, so it's a little mangled right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the damage.
The only person who makes a Honda unreliable. Xavier. You got a little crack there. Not too bad.
Set the little...
Actually, I thought it was worse than it is. This is definitely the worst part because it's cracked all the way to the edge. So you're gonna make sure you get those lines right. That curvature. Got another crack here. What is this for? Is this a drain?
Dude, I have no idea.
This is for all the rocks?
I mean, clearly it's not doing the best of its job.
And then this was straight.
Yep.
So now I'm just gonna cut out fiberglass pieces that will end up patching in here. And you don't really see this, especially now that you have an exhaust here.
Yeah.
So then this will just get probably spray painted black. And then since the other side's carbon, we'll do a layer of carbon on the outside. So we're just gonna reinforce the inside, and then I'll use fiberglass filler on the back to smooth it all out, and then we'll wrap it in a whole sheet of carbon. And it'll be good as new. So I'll put that one there first, because that'll at least add to the thickness, or the thinness of this diffuser, because this diffuser is real thin. So basically trying to match the thickness of the diffuser, but I don't need all of that thickness in this small area. So I'm gonna do that one first, and then do this one over top of that. And then the fiberglass filler, same thing here. But I'm gonna sand a lot of this out, get rid of whatever this is, spray paint, because you don't want the epoxy, or resin to stick to the paint. You want it to stick to the fiberglass. It's perfect. All right, now I just need to make a little piece for here and a giant piece for here. And then we'll sand, clean, mix resin, lay fiberglass, let it dry, come back tomorrow, fiberglass filler, and then whenever you can convince Tim to lay carbon on it, then you'll be good to go. Give it a little dance.
Fiberglass tank.
Not the place to be doing this.
What you mean, bro?
Can you snip this for me? I just need you to really mark it. Just cut it right at the end. Yeah. Actually, if you want, it's 5 inches wide. If you want to guesstimate that. It's about an inch. You're about 3 inches in. Okay, get in there. That's not 6 inches.
It's about 5.
Oh wait, that does say 5. Maybe a little bit more because this end is just like frayed. Kind of like right here. Now cut down. Cut down, like cut lengthways.
Probably
Right here. You never did arts and crafts as a kid?
So I never did?
Yeah.
I used to hate it. I guess you could tell. Why is my line?
Get in there! Just cut the thing. You're cutting so slow. Follow the thread if you can.
I was trying to at one point, then I lost what thread I was on. Dude, how long have you known me? You know I'll be moving slow at everything I do. You make fun of me every time.
Should've got the longer scissors.
Yeah, you give me the smallest ones. Dude, the world's straightest line. Damn,
Yeah,
bad.
that's as well.
It's Matt Greg, always hating on my arts and crafts. You cheating. You got a piece of tape to tell you where to cut. Then you gonna be like,
I wasn't trying to cut that accurately. I was trying to do it quickly. We're cutting at your speed. We'll be here all night. You're good. And then once you add your extra layer of carbon on top of this, she'll be sturdy. These ones are gonna need to be ground down. The ones where the cracks are running away. If I just went right over that crack, it'll come right back. So I'm gonna grind that out a little bit till the crack's gone. That should be fine. This one is just a crack, so I'm gonna grind that one out pretty good. This one has a few small cracks that I'll have to feather out and get rid of the actual cracking. You can see this one pretty good. Clean it up to like there. This is just 36 grit on a 3-inch grinder. All right, grind, and then I'm gonna feather it out around the grind spots with 40 on a DA, just to get rid of the spray paint or whatever, so the fiberglass actually adheres to fiberglass. And then I might go with 80 grit, a little bit wider afterwards.
arts and crafts
Caught.
with Craig.
Craig. Is this gonna look cool? Can you make this B-roll?
I thought I could.
Enough. Now, I wouldn't really normally do this step. It's partially because we're just filming, and partially because this piece was just dragging on the ground. I don't think it's gonna have any problem adhering, but just to be safe, we'll remove the dirt, and the wax, and the grease, and probably your tire shine. You use tire shine?
No.
Good. What a difference a good cleaning makes. You should try it.
I don't like taking baths.
Who takes baths? Talk about a shower. All right, well now we're ready to mix up the resin. Just want to make sure whenever you're repairing something where you need the edges to line up, it's flat. Luckily the bottom of this diffuser in this section and this section are flat, so when it's sitting on this cardboard, they actually line up perfect. This is what we're using. I don't even know. This is what you add to make it harden. So
that's the hardener.
And then the resin. So, what, 1.25% extra, or you add 1.25% of whatever this weighs of hardener to the resin. So,
It's on the direction.
Tim says do 500 grams. So then we're gonna be doing 500, 6.25 total, 500 of the resin, 500 of the, or 6.25 grams of the hardener.
It's a lot of math.
Yeah.
Boy, don't do good with math. AKA.
I don't see this going very well. We're just gonna try to pour it like this without cleaning the cap. You probably don't want to breathe this in either.
0.6, 7, 8, 9.
We'll go with 499.9.
You sprinkling no dust in my good.
All right, so 406 or 506.2. Wait.
What?
All right, so we're just gonna go with 506. Okay, 507.
0.9.
All right, let's go mix and let's go spread. So obviously this resin is gonna stick to this cardboard, but I'm just gonna rip it off tomorrow, and then I'm sanding the other side anyway for filler, so I'll just sand the cardboard off. Also, you'll see that tomorrow. Have we ever made a repairing carbon fiber video?
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Impressive. So I'm just gonna do a real light coat.
Actually, he repaired his front bumper, but he did it with chop. He didn't do it this way. It was with like...
Well, this is actually probably exactly what most people will do.
Yeah.
That watch this shit. Like, well, maybe drift kids don't really watch our videos, obviously, because they all hate my car. All our fans. But this is what people do to repair their fiberglass bumpers all the time, which is what drifters do all the time because they crash. Not because it's cool, but because they suck. That's why you let your brush drip over spots that need resin. And you want to tap it, don't drag it.
What's the reason for tapping? I guess it's like...
So you don't move the fiberglass because you will just pull it. Little spill. Looks like you cut both of these lines. Crooked as hell.
It's just the way you hold in the weave. How'd you know you would need 2 sheets? Or is that just...
I'm just trying to make it as thick as this.
Oh, okay.
Which it will be once you have the other layer of carbon on the other side.
Try to set the light there, but that was not the greatest place.
So we removed it from the cardboard. It worked out very well, actually. There's a little bit of cardboard stuck to here. Most of it's getting cut off. I just made a straight edge to know where I need to cut from here to there. So I'm gonna trim this away first, and then I'm gonna go back and I'll sand this flat with 40 grit on a 6-inch DA. You could do it with a grinder too to get rid of these drips, but I like having the big flat surface so I can kind of shape it how I want to before even applying any filler. Because if I ground it down, I could grind it down a little bit too much there. If I use this big surface, I know that it'll be flat if I move along this flat plane or this flat plane. So I'll do the same thing here after trimming, and then it'll be cutting this out, Dremel around there, drill out that hole, and then just clean up the edges, sanding, skimming, and then it'll be ready to go. Now I'm gonna sand it with 80 grit, and then we're gonna lay in the fiberglass filler. Are you gonna use these holes for mounting? You want me to drill them out?
Is this like specifically for I guess
Fiberglass.
composites.
Yeah. Short strand fiberglass for strong repairs. Waterproof. Repairs rust outs. I don't know if I would trust that. Dude, I literally just ordered this. What has Tim been doing? It's gone. I haven't used this since I bought it. It's been like, what, 4 days? Used half the damn thing.
No, it's pretty quick.
What's Tim fixing? Guess what Tim's fixing with this fiberglass filler in the comments. Oh, actually, probably this fiberglass bumper. Oh.
You sound like the kid. Macaroni.
Actually, I probably use a little bit more.
With the chicken nuggets.
I don't know what the fuck that is. The only thing with the fiberglass filler is it doesn't go on like normal filler because it's got all the hair in it. So like you kind of push it across and it pulls mud. Like it pulls the filler with it. It doesn't go on as smoothly as regular filler without the hairs in it. No hairs.
That's true.
I prefer no hairs. It's easier to spread.
Your main concern is really just filling out the majority of the low spots.
Yeah, and the important low spots. Like, you're never gonna see that. It's really just because we're not gonna fix 90% of the cracks and just leave that one. So, fix that one too. All right, and now we'll just wait for it to dry. That's just gonna be dependent on the weather, how much hardener you use. But probably 20 minutes. We'll come back and sand it with some 80 grit, then 120 grit, then 180 grit. And then we'll let Tim deal with the carbon fiber.
Taste the mud.
There's fiberglass. Well, I guess, yeah, there's mud in there too. So I was gonna sand it with 120 and 180, but there's really no point because we're laying another piece of carbon over this. So it's gonna get the
Adhesion it needs.
epoxy down first. I'm not even saying the right word. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it a million times. The resin. Put the resin down first. It'll fill all the small little pinholes you can see in here. If this was a painted part, I would go ahead and top coat this like a lightweight body filler. Fill all the little pinholes, sand it flat, prime it. But since we're gonna be using the resin over top of this, it'll fill all the little imperfections, and then it's gonna get a sheet of carbon, which is gonna make a bunch of imperfections, and then put more resin over top of that, and then smooth all that, and then it should look like that, if not better. But basically, you just don't want to sand out too much around your fiberglass and start thinning the carbon. Like right here, you want to have like a nice transition. Like here, it kind of had a high spot. So you can see I started to break through there. Where here, this is just the clear coat on the outside. This broke through the clear coat there, so I didn't want to sand it any further. So that's where you get that line right there. Like you can see, like this is like nicely feathered out, which is exactly what you were looking for. A nice feather out, make it smooth. If you're painting the part, top coat it after this step, and then primer, paint, all of that. But yeah, she's good to go with the carbon. I guess we're just gonna go see what Tim's up to.
Day 4. Sup? Welcome back. Today, I'm gonna finally do the carbon fiber process. So first thing on the list, Tim has informed me to go ahead and sand down the diffuser with some 180 grit sandpaper. That way, I guess the carbon fiber can help bond to the diffuser, but we're gonna let him give most of the details when he gets back. He had to run out really quick. Greg has transformed to Tim.
So, where did you leave off? Oh, you 180'd the actual carbon so we can have something to adhere to. And then I'm just putting like a black dye over top of all of the fiberglass filler, because sometimes when the weave of the carbon, if you're doing one layer of carbon, which is what we're doing, sometimes the weave will have like little tiny gaps in between it. You don't want to show like a bunch of green filler. So you don't want to like lay on a bunch of like, this is like a really thin dye, so something that's like a thick black paint might not do well with your carbon resin if you're using poly or epoxy or whatever. You can see how fast it flashes off since it's a dye. All right, cool. Well, that like literally instantly dries, and you already sanded it, so I'll just go get a roll of carbon, and I'll probably just lay it on here and then just trim it after. Roll of carbon and some poly resin, and we're good to go. Quick tip. So one of our subscribers actually told me about this tip. But you can take one of these crappy brushes, you get like a 40 pack of, and all these hairs always fall out. But you can take some super glue and run it along the base of all the little hairs. And it actually keeps those bad boys from coming out.
This part is the same process doing the fiberglass. Just base it in the resin and put it on top.
Yep. You can see how like when I go over this spot now, it's black instead of being green, like the fiberglass stuff was. So you can see that it's like a fade.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they're making fiberglass parts with a single layer of carbon on top of them, they'll actually use this dye stuff on the edges, because the edge of this is going to be white with a piece of carbon on it, unless they actually wrap the carbon over it. So they'll just cut it and they'll use a little spray. As a little bit it gets on it, it looks like it's a little darker, kind of blends in. Oh, this piece is not long enough. So we just laid it on super heavy. We have to wait for this to dry. You can see that some of the texture is still through it. But this is about as heavy as you really want to go for the first layer. So once this like tacks up enough, we'll sand it with 180, hit another 2 or 3 coats probably of the same poly. You could also use a clear gel coat, works the same. And then clear it, and it'll look like a brand new carbon part.
And don't worry, we'll show you that process with the final product in another video.